episode of BS Busters. Thank you for joining us. I'm joined by one of the usual suspects. Sir, introduce yourself.
It's Kanoshi Abominito, and the Xbox is beat, battered, deep fried, and cooked.
That's a fair assessment. This is Mr. Red Fox, owner proprietor of BS Busters. Thank you for joining us. We're getting started a little bit early today because we have a few topics to go over. So, with that being said, before we go any further, what you been playing, sir?
Uh, I started playing No Man's Sky. I didn't get very far in it. Um,
Yeah, yeah. No Man's Sky is one of
just
those games that you kind of have to put. You have to beat, quote unquote, beat the game like two or three times until it really starts to open up. And the start is
yeah,
really slow going unless you're playing it with a trainer and you're just cheating your way to having good shit early on. Then it's like it takes some of the grind out of it, which is good.
yeah. That's probably what I'm gonna end up doing. Definitely gonna get a trainer for this game.
Yeah, but so what'd you find that was like bothering you with the game?
I didn't really find anything that was bothering me. I was just it was just later at night. I wanted to check out, see how it ran on my computer, and shut it
Oh yeah,
off and went to bed. So I got really dig deep into that game. So
yeah. I mean, they really kind of that game was really optimized as it got better. It got optimized, which is good because when it first came out, it was kind of like this is where you're going with this. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But it got better over time, as many things do. Um, the only thing that kind of bothers me about No Man's Sky is just like I said, is that it is it's very grindy in the beginning,
Yeah.
and that can be a bit too much sometimes.
I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
Like I'm not into really excessively grindy games these days. Like I used to when I was younger. I'm like, oh man, this game's really grindy. These days, unless I really fucking like a game, I'm not gonna play an excessively grindy game. I'm like, your game has to be really fucking good for me to be like, oh, it's really grindy. Okay, I'm gonna play this.
Yeah.
Like the only game I played that's that grindy where I'm like, okay, I can get into this is the Fallout games, and specifically
Yeah. I
Fallout
see
New
that.
Vegas. Like the other games, I'm like, look, if this game is this fucking grindy, I don't want to play it because my time is valuable to me,
Yeah.
And even if my time isn't valuable, it's like unless you're making the grind fun, unless you're making power creep be more enjoyable, I don't need that level of grind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You better do something interesting with your damn game. Like I don't know, like see what's an interesting thing someone can do with a game to make it better. Um, let's see, what's a game that had grind? Well, shit. I mean, Fallout New Vegas. Like you literally felt as your skills got better that you became like, let's say you spec'd in handguns. As you leveled up, you got better loot, and the handguns you got as your skills went up, you became more effective at using them. Because like I've played that game with cheats with the cheat console on where you could basically just spawn shit into your inventory. And if you have low level weapon handling skills and you try to use a high level weapon, you're gonna suck at it.
Yeah.
It's like, man, this 45, I'm hitting this guy. It's not doing shit because your skill level is too low. Which I like games like that where it's like, okay, you have actual uh there's actual stakes in what you do and how you do what you do.
Yeah.
But that's just the type of guy I am, you know what I'm saying? That's just how I roll. Um But yeah, yeah. But back. Let's get to this. Let's get to this first topic. What I've been playing is I've been playing Puzzle Quest Immortal Edition, which is a re-release of the Puzzle Quest series with all of the content, the extra content they added with the later re-releases of the game. It has a new. How can I put this? It has a new. It has a new aesthetic. Like they upgraded how it looks. I'm gonna keep it real. I think the old game looked a little bit better because the old game looked like it was this big, like it looked like you were playing on a D&D map. This new game looks like some Unity shit. I mean, your main character looks like a little clay figurine on a tabletop game, but I never liked the tabletop games where you had to actually play, you know, with miniatures. Because miniatures are more expensive, and I'm
Yeah.
cheap. I'm a
Yeah, they
cheap.
charge an arm and a leg for those miniatures, and you have to paint them yourself. Although that's part of the appeal.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
yeah,
I mean, Warhammer has some of the most expensive like tabletop gaming miniatures because they're so fucking intricate and like so many pieces. D&D not quite as big as a thing, but I mean, if you're gonna give me miniatures, give me pewter miniatures. Back in the day, where you would use basically metal-based paint, not lead, because lead's poisonous these days. You use a metal-based paint to paint the little pewter miniature, and you could like go and you could customize your pewter miniatures, and then you would paint them the way you wanted to. And that was like, God, like 30 years ago, 30, 33 years ago. And they did that for years until now everything's plastic. The cool thing about pewter miniatures is that they're fucking unbreakable. The only thing is that the paint sometimes might fade, so you have to repaint them every few years, but they last forever. And they're sturdy, so you can use them in other applications. Like you can legit have them get knocked off the board, and you're not like, oh shit, my pewter miniature broke. It's like, oh no, everything's together, which I always liked. I always appreciated that. So yeah, let's talk about our first topic, which is Xbox may be leaving the hardware space, um, the video game hardware space. As in, they're not gonna allegedly they're not making any uh, new hardware, so there will be no Gen 11. Sorry, Gen 10 Xbox hardware. So here we go. Recent reports from this is from a story from Outlook Respawn. It's gaming culture and business. Recent reports from industry insiders suggested that the future of the Xbox hardware is uncertain, with claims that Microsoft might abandon making new consoles and fully embrace a third-party publishing model centered on its popular franchises and cloud streaming. This sparked widespread debate about whether Xbox would transition entirely to software, focusing on its mega franchises and Game Pass subscriptions while scaling back or pausing console development. Microsoft responded with a clear statement emphasizing ongoing investments in designing and building next generation Xbox consoles and hardware. I'm cleaning off my glasses. Pause. Okay, we're back. Urging critics to revisit its strategic agreements with AMD as proof of commitment. The speculation began with insider Sneaker Essos posting on NeoGAF that concrete plans for future Xbox hardware have shifted from definitive to up in the air. A surprising development given the expected release timeline was reportedly slated around 2026. The insider detailed delays, reduced retailer support such as Costco dropping Xbox consoles, and an internal realignment focusing on profitable software properties, including Call of Duty, Minecraft, and Candy Crush, as signs of a shifting Xbox trajectory towards software and cloud. Accompanying the rumors were predictions of more layoffs in the Xbox division and suggestions retailers pulling Xbox off shelves would accelerate. However, Microsoft has neither confirmed these plans nor layoffs, instead reinforcing a narrative of continued hardware investment alongside its expanding cloud gaming ecosystem. Microsoft's public clarifications highlighted its multi-year partnership with AMD to co-engineer silicon for the upcoming Xbox devices, a commitment echoed by both Xbox leadership and AMD CEO Lisa Su. Plans reportedly include new premium consoles and the expansion of versatile devices like the Xbox Ally handheld, all targeting a 2027 timeframe. This latest episode highlights a broader strategic evolution at Microsoft Gaming. While software as a service and subscription models like Game Pass dominate revenue, Xbox's hardware presence remains key to many users and a tangible brand pillar. The, the emerging software first phrasing signals a likely pivot toward flexible content delivery across devices, but not necessarily a complete hardware exit. Cloud gaming has yet to reach ubiquity, hindered by geography and infrastructure, making physical consoles a vital complement rather than a relic for the foreseeable future. Microsoft's holistic strategy appears to blend traditional console progression, handheld innovations, and aggressive cloud expansion, retaining a multifaceted approach despite speculative chatter. Ooh, that's a lot of techno gobbledygook. As the Xbox community waits for the official next-gen announcements, this balance between hardware faith and software ambition will continue shaping Microsoft's gaming's path forward in a fiercely competitive market. And this was written by Abhimanyu Das. Okay, so you want to give your first thoughts, or you want me to give my first thoughts?
You can give your first thoughts.
All right, so here are my thoughts. Do I think there was a delay? Yes. I think Microsoft saw the numbers because their consoles aren't selling that much, but they can't just pull out. I think that they told AMD to realign what their console is. I think Microsoft is going to make their premium console is going to be one with a hard drive, and I think their base model is going to be just as powerful, but just cloud based and streaming. It's going to have a hard drive. It's going to have a wired or Wi-Fi connection, and you're going to be like, it's going to come with maybe like a 3-6 months of Xbox Ultimate Game Pass, and you're going to basically, that's where they're going to make their money, and you can download games. I think Microsoft wants people using their cloud-based services because, I mean, shit, now that they own Activision Blizzard, they literally have like 40% of the games. 40% of the third-party market. So, and all they have to do is say, we're making a consoleized version of World of Warcraft and we're putting it on Xbox first. Boom. But those are my thoughts. Do I think they're getting, like, completely leaving the hardware market? No. But I do think that they're definitely realigning what they put their money into.
Yeah. Well, my thing is, I'm not too surprised that this is happening. This has been a ongoing uh, speculation. Uh, it's been ongoing speculation for years. Um, so
Yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is that Microsoft, when they had all the money in the world, their gaming division, and Steve Big Money Ballmer, or as I like to call him, Steve Batshit Crazy Ballmer, writing blank checks for the Xbox division. Even when they had that, they were throwing money like they were throwing money like a newly rich guy going to the strip club making it rain on bitches. Okay, that's how Microsoft was throwing money at third parties and second parties and everybody else. They still couldn't. They still weren't number one. Think about that. The seventh gen, where Microsoft arguably had the biggest clout, they spent money like gangbusters. Could never be the number one console. They've never been the number one console. Not a single generation. Sixth gen, they weren't the number one console. It was the PS2. Seventh gen, they weren't the number one console. It was the Wii. Eighth gen, they weren't the number one console. It was the PS4. Ninth gen, they're not the number one console. It's the Switch. They've been on the market for 4 gens. They've never been the number one console. Even Sega could say, arguably, for half of the fourth gen, they were the number one console.
Yeah.
Microsoft has never won a console generation.
Nope.
Despite all of their money, they have never won a console generation. You want to know why Microsoft has never won a console generation? Because Microsoft doesn't have a system killer, a system seller killer app. Okay, Halo was on PC as well, and Halo is a very niche. Like first-person shooters are very niche. Even with them opening up, they're still niche. You know.
Yeah.
Like I know there are people. I play Call of Duty with my friends. Yeah, that's cool, but like you and your friends like Call of Duty. Okay, like Call of Duty isn't universal. You know, like if you have a girlfriend, you can invite her over to your house and y'all can play Mario Kart or Smash Brothers, and then afterwards you can smash. Pun intended. Like you can do that with Nintendo games. You can get you can call your friends over and y'all can play Mario Party. Y'all can have some drinks, listen to some music, order a pizza, and play Mario Party. You can do that. That is a viable entertainment strategy. No one wants to go to a Call of Duty party. So that they can hear random 12 and 13-year-olds call them faggot and all types of horrific names online.
Yeah.
Talk about how they slept with your mother. Anyway. But go ahead, continue, sir.
So yeah, it's no surprise to me. I don't know how many times it's been rumored that Xbox might leave the console industry. When Steve Ballmer left, it looked like the days of Xbox were numbered. It was over for Xbox.
Yeah.
Because Steve Ballmer, as you've always mentioned, and looking back at the 360 days, this looks to be true. He essentially wrote them a blank check, so they were pretty much allowed to do whatever the heck they wanted.
Yep.
But and the reason the Xbox One was the way it was is because they were trying to branch Xbox out into other avenues. They were trying to do the PlayStation thing. Because you look at the PS2 and why it sold as much as it did. There's a lot of people that bought the PS2 that didn't use it for video games. It was just a really cheap DVD player at the time.
Yeah.
And that's what Xbox was trying to do. They were trying to make this entertainment set-top box that you could that would sell to more people than just gamers, and it failed spectacularly.
Yeah.
And now with the Xbox Series consoles, they were trying to create this sort of mini PC kind of aspect to it. Because if you look at the Series X, it looks like a ITX computer, and it's not doing so hot too because it still has the Xbox One stink on it. So it's pretty much over.
Also, a lot of their core fan base, when the Xbox One came out, those Xbox Strong, Xbox or Die, Xbox for Life motherfuckers jumped ship to the PlayStation. They're like, well, PlayStation's not going to fuck us over with DRM. And then PlayStation proceeded to turn around and fuck them over with DRM too.
I would make the argument. That they split. Some went to PlayStation, some went to PC. Because before the advent of the new consoles, people were like, you know what?
You're right.
I'm gonna go to PC. Consoles aren't doing it for me anymore.
You're right. But DRM is on everything. Even Nintendo has DRM.
Yeah.
PC has DRM.
Yep.
Look, listen. Okay. When I hear a PC gamer say, "I'm on PC because I don't like DRM," and I'm like, "Do you use Steam?" Yeah. What the fuck do you think Steam is? It's DRM. Now, here's the thing.
That's why I can't.
No, go ahead.
No, this is why I can't take people seriously about the people who are bitching about the keycard situation, because it's like if you've been playing on Xbox and PlayStation, and if you're on PC, why the hell are you complaining about keycards? But go on, say what you were about to say.
Here's the thing. Here's what I'm gonna say. Um, with like DRM is on everything these days. Even the Switch has DRM. Even if you look, every time even if it's a game that you have, it's all on your cartridge, and you put it in your Switch too, and it says you can't play this game until you have a system update. It's not a system update. It's a fucking thing to make sure that you have a legit copy of the damn game.
Yeah.
Now, believe it or not, the Wii U, the Wii, the 3DS, the DS, they had way less DRM. Like if you have a Wii and you basically never update it, you can still play like 95% of the games for your Wii and Wii U. Can't say the
Yeah.
same thing with the Switch or the Switch 2. Want to know why? Because they're worried that the shit's gonna get stolen. You know, Nintendo with all the fucking revenue they generated last gen with the Switch are so terrified that someone might pirate or hack their Switch. Oh my God! How dare you?
Yeah, that's typically how it works with these companies. Everybody's freaking out, acting like Nintendo should be their friend, but you know. But yeah, Xbox is pretty much done. Or at least the form that the form that it used to have is pretty much over.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look, I think that okay. The only reason I don't think they're gonna not release a console next year or the year before next, they'll probably announce it at the end of 2026 and get some hype about it, is because okay, yeah, if you live in a major city, you have the infrastructure to support cloud gaming or streamed gaming, whatever. Um, if you live out in the sticks and you have shitty internet, which a lot of the country still has shitty internet, you need physical hardware.
Yeah,
Like even though the previous president signed the Infrastructure Recovery Act, and they like started building solar and putting down lines and shit. That still is only like that was only 10-15% completed. So you still need some money. You still need people to do this. People still don't have, it went from like 15% having access in rural areas, having access to high speed internet, maybe 30. That's still 70% of those people are living in shit where they're getting, if they're lucky, if they get dial up and shitty dial up at that. Okay. I don't mean dial up where it's like, oh man, no one else is on the market. I mean shitty dial up. The type of dial up where you're just like, I might as well just not even use this shit. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So my simple point is to say this: people need to quote Satoru Iwata, people need to please understand. Please understand.
yeah,
Please understand that these games are not, you got to kind of look at this shit from that point of view. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Anyway, that's my opinion. That's it. Anything else you want to add before we move on to the next topic? Like target topic.
Nah.
All right. So the next topic is EA was allegedly shopping around. Allegedly shopping around. EA Bioware. So we're not talking. We're not going to talk about that because we talked about that the week before last week. We're going to talk about what would we do. What would you do if you had access? If you owned a company or had the money and you could buy Bioware from EA, what would you do with EA?
What's the question again?
If you could buy Bioware from EA, what would you do with Bioware?
I'm not sure.
Okay. I'll tell you what I would do. If I could buy Bioware from EA, like, wholesale, you own it, it's yours now. I'll tell you what I would do with Bioware. First of all, I would have them make, and that included the IPs. Okay, all their IPs. I'm making Dragon Age Origins too, because it's what people wanted.
Yeah,
and we never got. Like, we got Dragon Age 2, which was shit. Dragon Age 3, which was also shit. Sorry, Inquisition. Dragon Age Veilguard, shit. I'm doing that. I'm doing Mass Effect. I'm doing Mass Effect. I'm doing a legit Mass Effect 4. Because I know everyone's like Mass Effect Andromeda. Mass Effect Andromeda was, how can I put this nicely? Ass. It was ass. And I'm going to do something that they should have done with. What they should have been doing years ago, which is they need to make a change. So they should have made like every Mass Effect game you're playing as a human being. I want to have the option to play as an alien.
Yeah.
Like, why the hell do I have to play as a human being? Can't I play as a Krogan? Or an Asari? Or whatever the fuck Dr. Solus was?
Yeah.
I forgot. Like, I should be able to play. I should be able to play as different characters. It shouldn't be the same character every goddamn time. So yeah, that's what I would do. Mass Effect 4, where you get to create your character, kind of like Dragon Age Origins style, where your origin, like you can choose to be one of like 5 races at the start of the game. I would set it. Well, at this point, if they never, I don't think they're going to make Mass Effect 4 where they tease that Commander Shepard is coming back. I would go like 300 years in the future, where the ending of Mass Effect 3 is that the Mass Effect relays were destroyed, so humanity and all the races that exist had to create a new faster than light way of faster than light travel, and they did. So now it's just rediscovering the galaxy. Like, you're going back and seeing all the shit that changed. Like, you go to Tuchanka, which is the home planet for the Krogan, and they had to either, like, you see that the choices that you helped them make, either they destroyed themselves and they're like they bombed themselves back into the Stone Age, or they finally figured out how to use birth control and control their warlike tendencies. Choice is yours, you know, like shit like that. That's what I would do. And maybe have the maybe have some stuff happening where things change. You know what I'm saying? But that's just me. They can't make another Baldur's Gate because that was another IP, but they could totally make another KOTOR, like a real KOTOR, not an MMO. Um, you got anything to answer?
Sorry about that. No, not really. I haven't played a lot of. I don't necessarily have played a ton of Bioware stuff.
Hmm.
Um, played a little bit of Mass Effect. Played played Anthem when that came out, and played a little bit of uh, Dragon Age, the first game. But yeah, I think the stuff that you said would be pretty cool.
Okay.
And also, yeah, it'd be nice to have a proper sequel to Dragon Age, because I know a lot of people were disappointed in the sequel.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue that every Dragon Age sequel they've done has been pretty trash, pretty damn trash. Um, if not terrible. I know some people are going to get mad when they hear that. Well, how could you say that? Nah, they've been pretty damn terrible. Most of the Dragon Age, like Dragon Age 2, it started with Dragon Age 2 when they like the first Dragon Age took them like 4 or 5 years to make. Dragon Age 2 they made in 18 months, and people were like, "I'm surprised this game is bad." I'm like, "I'm not." Dragon Age Inquisition, which that game feels like you're playing an MMO where someone gave you access to the servers, but there's no one else on the server with you, so you're playing an MMO by yourself. And then there's Dragon Age Veilguard, which was trash, like hot buttered trash. It's like Bioware doesn't know how to make good games anymore. And don't get me started with Mass Effect 3. But that's my opinion. Anything you would add before we wrap? Before we get to the next topic?
No, that's it.
All right. Next topic. We're just gonna cover general gaming topics. Are there any gaming topics where you're like, you know what, no one's talking about this, but it needs to be discussed because this is some BS or not? I don't know this.
Well, everybody's talking about this, but the Game Pass situation, um, that's it's not entirely crazy. I mean, obviously it's annoying, but the way things have been going the past year or so, the past couple of years, I'm not completely surprised. I'm not surprised at all that Game Pass went up in price, and I know everybody's freaking out about it. Everybody's canceling their Game Pass subscriptions. Um, so I canceled my Game Pass subscription when they raised the price. They raised the price again. It's like I don't really use this. I don't want to be paying $20 a month for something I'm not really using that much. So
Uh, I recently bought a new PC and I have a year of Game Pass for like um, that came with it. So basically, I'm sitting on 2 free subscriptions for Game Pass. Not free, but like
Yeah.
So conceivably speaking, I could get my hands on uh, like Game Pass Plus. Through a rebate, I have like 6 months of Game Pass for nothing. So I can't really. Game Pass is great, but I find that I would rather like with Game Pass, you're functionally um, like I conceivably have like you're essentially when you play Game Pass games, you're renting that game until it leaves the rental area. You know what I mean? Whereas I have freaking I have Steam where I can like download the game and I can do whatever the hell I want to with it. I can mod it. I can mod it to death. So for me, that's lovely. Me personally. So to each their own, though. I know everyone has their own proclivities about these types of things. So you know,
Yeah.
what do you think about it? Do you care? Not care? Don't give a shit?
Um, I think Game Pass is a good idea on purpose. I mean, on paper, but I just don't think it's necessary. I just don't think they thought it through very well. Or it's not that they didn't think it through. It's just that, things change so quickly. Developers wanted a better cut because they were, Game Pass was eating into sales, and the way games are made these days, especially at the AAA level, these companies need buku's amount of sales. So,
Yep. And
um,
Game Pass definitely eats into sales because why buy the game when you can just essentially rent it and play it completely through without
yeah,
having to buy it? I mean, definitely Game Pass definitely does not help, um, developers, but as a consumer, it's great. It's like I just pay
yeah.
$30 a month and I can play all these fucking games.
It's amazing how things have changed. Because I remember renting a lot of my games growing up because
Money.
uh, money.
Yeah.
Parents weren't gonna throw a whole bunch of money. Like, because I was like, I think it was years ago. I was watching a Let's Play of Chrono Trigger, and the guy said when he first picked up the game it was like $70. Like, gaming has always been expensive. There was like this short period of time where gaming was fairly cheap, and that was during the fifth, sixth gen. Uh, or games were every game was just $50, flat rate $50 for a while, and it wasn't always like that, and obviously it's definitely not like that today. And I think most of the kids I knew growing up, most of the games they played, they were rented. You owned very few games,
Well,
unless your parents had money and they didn't care and they just got you whatever you wanted.
I
But
mean, yeah, I mean, look, listen, I'm gonna keep it 100%. I had a parent who would get me games, but the reason I had games because my mother discovered the joy of layaway. See, layaway lets you get things even if you don't have the immediate money, all of the money for it.
yeah,
So your parents would go and get and pay and go to layaway, and get the games and then pay them off over X amount of months, and then they'd pay them off, and then you'd have a really nice Christmas. You know, you get there, it's like, oh man, I got like 5 games, and that was like $300 $400 worth of games. But I mean, your parents paid that off over 6 months.
Yeah.
So that's how you. So I mean, you could have a lot of games. It just like your parents were gonna be very. They had to plan that shit out. So I have
Yeah, they have to be
like
strategic. Yeah.
I still have all of my old game. Like I have Jesus Christ. Shit. I would say right now I have like 85 Super Nintendo games, and about 30 of them are games that I had when I was a kid. They're still from when I was a kid. Um,
Yeah.
my N64, I have like 50 N64 games. Half of those are still from when I was a kid. Um, really, I didn't start like just basically having to rebuy shit until the PS2 came because CDs were just so breakable and losable. You know,
Yeah.
but I mean, I'm the exception. Okay, I am the exception to that because the reality is that most people, you're right, were just renting games, or trading games, or borrowing games, or that's how you played games. You borrowed, you rented, you traded. You'd be like, "Hey, man, that looks like a fun game. Can I borrow it?" And either they would say yes or no. And if you could, you maybe borrow it over the weekend. You're like, "Oh man, this is amazing. What's this game
Yeah,
called?"
that's I either got games through yeah, either I either got them at a discount with when it came to, cuz maybe a friend wanted to sell it. Um or Christmas or birthday or allowance. That's
Yeah,
typically how I got my games.
yeah. I did not have an allowance. I had to get what I could get when I could get it. Um, but yeah, man, like gaming. But you're right. Gaming has always been expensive. It's only until the fourth and fifth gens. I'm sorry, the fifth and sixth gens when CDs came in, where games started to get cheaper. Because
Yeah.
remember, Nintendo, Sega, and like everyone else was using cartridges, and cartridges were more expensive to manufacture. So they passed on that cost to you. The actual console may have been cheap, but everything else was going to be expensive.
Yeah.
So that's how it was back then. It has gotten better. It has gotten much better, but it's still not great.
Yeah. The indie game quality in general has gone up significantly, I'd
Yeah,
say. But, it's not everybody's gonna clamor for those kind of games. Like, don't get me wrong, I like a lot of those games that come out, but again, a lot of eyes, a lot of attention is going to be on the AAA spectacle. That's what a lot of people go for. I don't know what to tell you guys, but
yeah.
but yeah, but it's probably less so now, just because of how a lot of these AAA games have been coming out. They've been busted, broken, buggy.
I mean, I'll be
Uh,
100% honest with you. I think the indie games have their shit together more than AAA's these days. Even Nintendo, they're indies that are eating their lunch in terms of platforming, 2D platforming especially, and shit like that. And just how anti-consumer Nintendo and all these companies are being. It's like I don't appreciate this. But that's my own personal opinion. I could be right or wrong.
but yeah, and and actually, no, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Anyway, if you remember, you can bring it back up. So yeah, it's one of those things where I just feel like we, the only way you can save is yourself. Don't buy everything when it first comes out. Wait till it goes on sale. That's it. Anything else you want to add before we move on to the final bit, which is hot take?
Um,
Sorry, I guess that was free topic. Oh, whatever. So go ahead, pimp out what you got to pimp out.
I have a Spotify, or whatever favorite music streaming site you like to use. Synaptic Garden. It's the name of my project. I have a couple singles out and an EP. Check it out when you get a chance.
All right. Great. So this is Mr. Red Fox, owner proprietor of BS Busters. Thank you for joining us. It's been a while, but you know, life goes on. Um, so if you would like to, if you would like to reach us, you can reach me on Blue Sky, which is the link is in the description. You can also reach me via Discord or email, mrredfoxbsbuster@gmail.com. So that's in the cast. Rate, comment, share, subscribe, play your games. Peace, and have a good day. Uh,